Hi guys. So hopefully you can hear me, and I know you can't see my face, but I'm going to walk you through completing this lab since you're all at home. So if you take a look at your lab sheet, it tells you the apparatus that you need to have, and it sort of shows a picture that should look something like what you see here. We have our two ring stands. That's what these big posts are. We have the clamps for the ring stands. We've got a meter stick, and these black things up here are the force sensors. Those force sensors are connected to this LabQuest Mini that records data, and that is connected to a computer, which you can't quite see, but I'm going to share the screen of that computer with you in a little bit. Okay, so it tells you to log onto the computer and open up a program called Logger Pro. So I've done that. And then it says to unhook the meter stick from the force sensor. So I'm going to do that now carefully. Okay, so I've unhooked my meter stick. And now it's telling me to zero the force sensor. So I'm going to switch to the screen that has the force sensors connected to it. Okay, so this is the Logger Pro program. It tells you to zero the sensors. So that little zero button is up here. I'm going to press 0. And then you'll see these numbers should go to right around 0. Okay, and then it tells you to put the meter stick back up here. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and now it's asking you to write down the values. So the first value is going to be this force 1. You're going to write that in the spot on the left-hand side. So it's somewhere around 0.78. And then the second value is force 2. So that's the one that you're going to write in the space on the far right-hand side of your sheet. And it says it's about 0.81. Okay. So now we're going to start working our way through this lab. For the next one, it tells you to put a 2 Newton force and at the 30 centimeter mark and at the 90 centimeter mark. So I have these handy dandy weights here that allow me to put a force on the meter stick. This is a 2 Newton weight. So I'm going to hang one at the 30 centimeter mark. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a minute so that you can see the setup. So I've got my 2 Newton force, and I have another 2 Newton force here. I'm going to hang this one at the 90 centimeter mark on my meter stick. Okay, so I've got my 2 weights hanging there. Now I'm going to switch back to the force sensor screen. So now you can see that the sensor on the left is reading 2.34 newtons. And the sensor on the right is reading 3.17 newtons, roughly. So you want to write on the space to the left 2.34, and on the space to the right 3.16 or 3.17. It's okay that they're jumping around a little bit. Okay, for problem number 3, now it tells you to hang a 5 Newton weight at the 20 centimeter mark. So I'm going to remove the 2 weights that I had there for problem 2. I'm going to come back to the camera. So hopefully you can see now I have a handy dandy 5 Newton weight here. I'm going to go ahead and hang that at the 20 centimeter mark. So this is problem number 3. Now I'm going to switch back to the screen with the force sensors. And you can read that the sensor on the left is now 4.76 newtons. So you can write that for problem number 3 in the blank on the left. And the sensor on the right is reading about 1.78 newtons. So you can write that in the blank on the right. Okay. So now I'm going to come back to the camera, and I removed my weight from problem number 3. So looking at problem number 4, it tells me to put a half Newton weight at 70 centimeters and a 1 Newton weight at 90 centimeters. So I have my half Newton weight right here, and I'm going to hang that at 70 centimeters. And then I have my 1 Newton weight here, and I'm going to hang that at 90 centimeters. Okay, so there are my weights hanging. I'm going to switch back to the force sensor screen. So we're on problem number 4, and you'll see now that the force sensor on the left is 1.03 newtons, and the sensor on the right is 2.05 newtons. So write those in your 2 blanks for problem number 4. For problem number 5, now it says to hang 2 2-Newton weights and 1 1-Newton weight. So let's set that up. I've got my 2-Newton weight here. I'm going to hang that at 10 centimeters. I'm going to hang another 2-Newton weight at 30 centimeters. And I'm going to hang a 1 Newton weight at 90 centimeters. So there are my weights hanging at the right spots. Now I'm going to switch back to the force sensor screen. So this is problem number 5. In the space on the left for the force sensor on the left-hand side, I'm going to write 4.04 newtons. That's force 1. And for the space on the right, I'm going to write 2.46 newtons for force sensor number 2. Okay, I'm going to come back to my camera and remove these weights. Problem number 6 tells me to hang a 10 Newton weight right between the 60 and 70 centimeter mark. So I'm going to go ahead and hang this 10 Newton weight. You can see that's kind of a big one, right at about 65 centimeters. So now I'm going to switch back to the force sensor screen. And you'll see I'm going to write for problem number 6 for the space on the left, 4.23 newtons. And for the space on the right, 7.20 newtons. That's problem number 6. Okay, now I'm going to remove this big weight, and I'll come back to the camera. And problem number 7, the last one, tells me to hang a 1.5 Newton weight. I don't have a 1.5 Newton weight, but I've got a 1 and a 0.5, so I'm going to attach those together. And I'm going to hang those at the 10 centimeter mark. And then it tells me to put a 3 Newton weight at the 30 centimeter mark. So I'm going to take a 1 and a 2 and connect them together and hang those at the 30 centimeter mark. There we go. My weights are all hanging. I'm going to switch back to the force screen. So for problem number 7, in the space on the left, we're going to write 4.21 newtons. And in the space on the right, I'm going to write 1.81 newtons. Okay? And that's all of our data collection for this lab. So you should be able to use that information to answer all of your lab questions.